August 18th, 2017. Hey there, whoever or wherever you are. I hope you're having a better day than I am, because I sure as hell am having the most annoying and worst day of my fucking life. But hey, let's not dwell on that too much. I should probably start off by introducing myself before I get lost in whatever the hell this is. The name's Warziniak, yes I know. And you may be thinking, what kind of sadistic parents name their kid that? They might as well have tried summoning a demon or something. But hey, I can spare you some sanity. Just call me Lawrence. It's simpler for both of us, and it sounds less like a curse from a forgotten ritual. I need to jot this down somewhat quickly because my piece of shit Captain Petrov, wants to talk to me about paperwork or some shit. You know, documents, the kind of bureaucratic bullshit that always seems to haunt your life no matter what. Not to mention the rain is relentless, and I'm getting annoyed as hell trying to type on this damn PDA with muddy fingers. I swear whoever designed this thing should rot in the deepest pits of electronic hell. And don't even get me started on the fact that this heavily fortified compound has no damn chairs. I'm currently sitting on my ass, in the pouring rain, in the mud. Who builds a place like this without thinking of simple comforts? But I digress. Sorry if this message seems more like rambling than something coherent. English isn't my first language, and this PDA is an uncooperative little shit due to the rain and is getting on my nerves. Apologies for anything that might sound wrong or just plain nonsensical. I'm just trying to write this shit out as quickly as possible on this seemingly encrypted network that's being advertised on this PDA every 5 damn minutes. Anyway, back to me. I'm 25, or at least I fucking hope so. Time's become a blurry mess since I got stuck in this shithole. I'm part of a small, ragtag, yet somewhat organized group of folks. I guess mercenaries would be the best way to put it. With the majority of us only being here just for the cash you can milk from this place. It's funny how greed can really bring people together. It's beautiful, no? But nevertheless. So, what was I doing before I wound up here? Well, before I found myself in this little shithole that I now am forced to call home, I was happily married to my beautiful wife, Sophia. We had a blissful 4 years together filled with love and laughter. I had a job that made living comfortable, a cybersecurity specialist for banks and shit like that. We were in Bydgoszcz, Poland. Oh, and we had 2 kids, Igor, a hyperactive 5-year-old who's always bubbling with energy and curiosity, and Alex, a 3-year-old troublemaker at heart, but damn, he's a joy when he's not off turning the house into a goddamn war zone. It was a perfect, almost too perfect family life, minus the inevitable temper tantrums and struggles of parenthood. But those seemingly perfect memories have become distant, like echoes of a forgotten song. I'd give anything to go back to those times, even for just 5 goddamn minutes. I longed to hear my wife's voice, the infectious laughter of my kids, and even their infuriating bickering over toys. God, I miss it all so much. Sometimes I wonder what they think of me now. Do they think I ran off with some random chick? Do they think I died? Do they think I just disappeared? The uncertainty breaks my heart, knowing they must be confused, scared, and maybe even angry at my absence. I apologize for laying this on you, but I just needed to get these thoughts out. Just because I spend more time in this shithole doesn't make it any easier. So you're probably wondering how the hell I got myself into this situation, right? Well, let me tell you, it's not like I was sent on some crazy military mission or secret government op. Nah, this isn't your typical action movie bullcrap you see on TV. You see, only the folks with connections and the disenfranchised really know about what's been going on here. I'll give you a quick rundown. Smuggling contraband, as I like to call it, in and out of the exclusion zone has been a thing for quite a while now. Criminals, normal-looking folks like myself, and even those damn Ukrainian soldiers guarding that massive, heavily fortified wall around the damn place ever since the disaster. Yes, they're in on it too. They're smuggling crazy shit out of there, making a fuck ton of money while they're at it. The kind of money that would make Scrooge McDuck look like a fucking joke. Don't ask how I knew about this. Just know that being a seemingly good husband and parent didn't mean I wasn't rubbing elbows with some truly shady characters. Really fucking shady. The kind of people that are involved in some of the most downright depraved and craziest shit you could ever imagine. I guess I've just got a knack for attracting some really charming people. Nevertheless, as I kept hearing about these crazy stories of people seemingly getting rich overnight, greed got the better of me. The lure of unimaginable wealth blinded me to the risks. Disclaimer, do not fucking do what I did, unless you want to end up rotting away in the middle of Ukraine somewhere. If that's the case, go right ahead. Alright, for now, I will need to give you a quick history lesson about the nuclear disaster in Chernobyl in case some of you have been living under a rock or something. Trust me, you need to know about this in order to even just slightly understand what's going on here. So, Chernobyl, a disaster so bad it's like a B-grade horror movie made real. There was this nuclear plant, right? Well, it went kaboom in '86, all because a few scientists decided to play with the thing like it was a damn toy or something. And it wasn't just a regular explosion. It was a nuclear clusterfuck with a hint of black magic or something that turned a whole surrounding area into a radioactive wasteland. I mean, radioactive enough to give a Geiger counter a nervous breakdown. Like, picture the biggest and worst microwave malfunction of all time. But the shit that the explosion manifested in this fucking place is something beyond my understanding. I don't know what kind of crazy experiments they were doing in the depths of that reactor for the things that I'm about to talk about to be real. I swear, it's like something out of a shitty little sci-fi film. I guess we'll really never know. After all, world governments really have a knack for keeping such things out of the public's attention. But hey, since you've stuck around for this long, I suppose I can fill you in on some of the crazy shit going on here. So let's talk about the real fucked up stuff. Anomalies. These anomalies, man, they're like physics-defying middle fingers to reality itself. You've got invisible tornadoes that'll tear you apart without a second thought, like nature's version of a blender. I call them vortexes. Step into one of those and you'll be dragged in, compressed into a tiny little meatball, then scattered in pieces like some sick cosmic joke. Then there's this green goo that'll melt your legs off faster than you can mutter the words, "Oh fuck." It's like super acid on fucking steroids. I've seen rookies walk into the little green shits, and let me tell you, it's a mess you don't want to see. Hell, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And the mutants? Oh boy, don't even get me started. You've got dogs that have been mutated into decaying, grotesque monsters that are all about fucking up any living thing in the zone. And then there are these massive two-headed tiger-like mutants that roam around like they own the place. They'll maul and kill anyone who crosses their path, just because they can. It's like they're on a perpetual power trip, ready to devour you for breakfast and shit you out by lunch. Did I mention that all these mutants take like 5 goddamn magazines of ammo to take down? It's insanity, man, I'm fucking telling you. Or maybe I'm just a shitshot, who knows? Sorry if my rambling is too much. Just needed to vent a bit. Now you're probably wondering why I can't just peace out of here, right? Well, it's not that simple. Those Ukrainian soldiers are swarming around the wall like ants at a picnic. They've got orders, and those orders involve bullets for anyone trying to leave without permission. So yeah, until one day, if that day ever comes, I'm stuck here, trying to figure out my great escape from this radioactive nightmare. However, I did once try to escape, but it was one of the worst escape attempts imaginable. It was like 2 weeks into being trapped in this nightmare, and I thought I could outsmart the system. Let's just say that attempt was one of the most poorly planned catastrophes waiting to happen. So picture this, a bunch of rookies, including me, huddled together, whispering about getting the hell out. We thought we were some elite special forces, ready to cross the heavily fortified wall like we were in some action movie. It was nighttime, and the darkness gave us a sense of confidence. We were gonna make a break for it, no big deal, right? Wrong. So damn wrong. As we got closer to the wall, a few hundred meters away, we were feeling like the kings of the zone. We thought we had it all figured out, until we realized one thing. Night is dark. I mean, yeah, duh, like no shit. But we were so caught up in our badassery that we didn't notice the fucking anti-aircraft gun nests. Yes, the type of guns that destroy helicopters. Literally, like 10 freaking meters away from us. Then it happened. The deafening roar of anti-aircraft gunfire filled our ears, and suddenly we were in the middle of the biggest goddamn machine gun firestorm you could imagine. Bullets were whizzing past us, impacting the ground around us, with dust and debris flying up from the ground almost to fucking head level. It was like a fucking bullet symphony, and the Ukrainian soldiers were pretty much giving us the middle finger in terms of mercy. Insults were hurled at us in Ukrainian words I didn't understand, but I didn't need a translation to know they were basically saying, "You idiots are gonna die," or something similar. It was like a scene out of a twisted comedy sketch, except the punchline was that my comrades were dropping like flies around me. and yet somehow me and another rookie seemed to have acquired some sort of plot armor. We were running around shitting ourselves, dodging bullets and swearing like sailors, screaming out for our damn lives, as if that was going to do anything. And miraculously we survived that shitstorm, crawling away quickly in random ditches we jumped into, or just hauled ass through random bushes and foliage for concealment. Looking back, it's like something out of a movie, or a fucked up dream. The memory of the gunfire, the shouts, and the chaos still echoes in my mind. I still can't forget the sight of my fellow rookies lying motionless on the ground, their bodies sprawled out on the ground with massive pools of blood and gore around them. Huge chunks of their bodies just fucking gone, or literally just becoming pulverized by the gunfire. Their dreams of escape shattered in an instant by the cold reality of this place. It's hard seeing all that, you know? Real fucking hard. Last but not least, we've got Sergei, a grizzled 30-year-old Ukrainian, big buff dude, big beard. You know, just a gruff-looking dude. I think he was in the military or something. I remembered him saying something about being a Spetsnaz or something. You know, not that his already intimidating look and physique didn't command enough respect. He's the tough son of a bitch who holds our little group together. The guy you don't mess with, or the people around him if you do so happen to cross paths with him. So we were on an expedition, far from our fortified compound, scavenging for some much-needed supplies like we often did. We found ourselves in the abandoned city of Pripyat. We were exploring the Palace of Culture, a rather infamous building there, I think anyways. So there we were, my companions and me, stepping into this place, the walls of the building overgrown with vegetation, almost surreal looking, albeit slightly unnerving. As I followed them inside, this rancid smell pierced my nostrils. It was unlike anything I have ever smelt before. I swear it vaporized my fucking nose hairs. Imagine that funky and rotten smell of old meat. Add in some spoiled sardines, with the sickly smell of something sweet hitting the back of your throat. That's the best way I could describe it. I gagged as I felt a feeling of unease creeping over me. I vividly remember the hairs on the back of my neck raising, a small chill running up my spine. It was as if some primal instinct deep within me was screaming, "Get the fuck out of here." But you know how it is. Curiosity and desperation have their own way of winning over your instincts. I pulled up the makeshift scarf around my neck over my nose and mouth and took slow and deliberate steps, each one heavy with hesitation, my gut churning. That unease by this point was doing its thing in full swing. It pretty much took all of my mental courage to not just tell my group that I am not taking a step any fucking further and that we should just up and out of that fucking place. Have you ever felt like every step you took was leading you closer to something you weren't meant to face? No? Well, that's exactly how it felt. I was never really a religious guy, but I swear on that day, there's some guardian angel who tried to get me the fuck away from that damn building. My group and I ventured deeper into the building, making our way down winding hallways, the sound of our boots hitting the ground with heavy thumps, along with the faint sound of our gear rustling as we cleared each room we entered with laser-like precision, my rifle gripped tightly in my hand. We eventually made our way into a room at the end of a long and winding hallway. As we entered, we noticed that the room was fucking chock full with supplies. Canned goods, random junk that could prove useful, you name it, it was there. Fast forward a few seconds and we were cramming that shit into our packs like madmen. It was like a fucking twisted shopping spree in a store of forgotten dreams. And then, that's when it happened. I know, sorry for the overly dramatic one-liners, but just bear with me. So there I was, grabbing supplies in that room, when suddenly a deep, almost whispered laughter echoed inside my mind. It was so damn chilling that I froze in place, my hand hovering over a can of food I was just about to grab. My eyes were wide with terror and confusion as the laugh sent shivers crawling down my spine. But then, I snapped out of my fear-induced paralysis, turning around with my gun ready in hand. As I turned, I saw my comrades, Zoran, Yuri, and Sergei, all armed and aiming at the doorway. I hushedly asked them if they heard it too, and they nodded in response, their weapons trained on the entrance. The primal fear from earlier gripped me again, causing my hands to tremble slightly, my breaths coming out in shaky exhales. Sergei, the tough-as-nails leader, was the first one to break. His eyes widened, his skin turned pale, and he muttered something in Ukrainian that I couldn't quite catch. Zoran was next, his bravado replaced with a nervous chuckle that reeked of desperation. I turned my head and exchanged a glance with Yuri, and in that moment I saw fear in his eyes, something I'd never seen before in that quiet, unflinching man. We didn't need words. We both knew that whatever was happening, it sure as fuck wasn't normal. But it didn't end there. The air around us grew thick, and my vision started to warp. A yellow tint overtook everything, and another deep laugh echoed in my head, louder this time, accompanied by a faint ringing in my ears. Soft whispers began to fill my mind, haunting and incoherent, punctuated by bouts of deep, eerie laughter. I watched my comrades one by one move one hand off their guns and cover their ears, trying to muffle out the whispers and laughter that seemed to also be driving them mad. I found myself doing the same, the ringing growing louder, until my vision was completely engulfed by yellow. Then the ringing became deafening. I let out strained groans, clutching my head as pain surged through my skull. My gun slipped from my grip, with it hitting the ground with a metallic clang, rational thought deserting me. The whispers grew louder, taking on a tangible form, as if they were right in front of me, urging me to pick up my gun and kill my friends. My group dropped their guns, writhing in agony, except for Yuri, who somehow still clung to his weapon, trembling as he fell to his knees, screaming in terror and desperation. I swear on my life, his eyes were just solid fucking white. And there it was, a hooded figure, emerging in the doorway. The figure held out his hand in a clenched fist, his features obscured. As the figure came into view, the whispers in my mind morphed into screams and demands, pushing me to pick up my gun and kill my companions. I remember my friends instantly began letting out frantic and desperate screams as they grabbed and clawed at their heads, trying anything to get the sounds out of their heads, the sound of their desperate and frantic screams reverberating off the walls of the room. I joined my group in their desperate screams, my hands pressed to my head as we dropped to our knees. The sight was almost surreal, a group of battle-hardened mercenaries brought to their knees by something they couldn't fully see or touch. The voices pushed me to lift my gun, and as if not in control of my own body, my arms slowly obeyed. I struggled with all my might, my mind a battlefield of fear and desperation. Every fiber of my being fought against the compulsion to commit unspeakable violence against the people I considered my brothers. The struggle was overwhelming. I fought with every ounce of mental strength I had left. As my arm moved, I let out strained screams of terror and desperation, the fear tangible in my gut. My heart raced faster than ever before, pounding in my chest like a relentless drumbeat. Horrific images suddenly flooded my mind. Corpses, devastation, chaos, flames engulfing the world, and I couldn't escape them no matter how tightly I shut my eyes. My eyes snapped open, and I saw the figure rear back its fist before thrusting it forward. And in that twisted moment, my other arm moved, gripping the gun with a white-knuckled grasp. I was helpless, a passenger in my own body, as my arms trembling as I aimed at Sergei, looking at him through the sights of my gun. I screamed in a frenzy of struggle, the laughter in my mind growing deeper and more sinister. My vision of yellow intensified, and I realized that whatever was happening was something far beyond our comprehension, far beyond anything we could fight against. My finger was about to press the trigger, my agonized screams mingling with the maddening laughter in my mind. Every fiber of my being screamed against it, but my control was slipping away as I fought against the compulsion, my whole being resisting with every ounce of willpower I had left. And then, just as the world teetered on the brink of madness, it happened. An agonized, defiant scream pierced the air. Yuri! Multiple gunshots followed, echoing like thunder in the room. A guttural roar, deep and primal, filled the space, seemingly erupting from the very depths of the hooded figure. In an instant, it was over. My vision snapped back to normal. The ringing in my ears, the grotesque imagery, all of it stopped. I felt control returning to my limbs, my movements once again my own, with faint whispers still faintly audible in my head. I turned my head towards the doorway, and there it was, the hooded figure stumbling back, a strange mixture of agony and rage in its movements. Adrenaline coursed through me, and I quickly trained my gun on the creature, unleashing an entire magazine into its head, letting out a rage-filled battle cry. Its form convulsed, a wet, gurgling roar escaping its twisted mouth as it fell back, motionless. As the creature lay there, motionless on the ground, the unearthly voice in my head grew silent, replaced by the sound of my own labored and panicked breaths. I could feel the weight of the moment, a tense calm settling over the room. But then, a single gunshot rang out beside me, followed by the rustling of gear hitting the ground. I turned my head, my heart pounding as I looked over at Sergei and Zoran, who were also clutching their guns. Panic and fear were etched on their faces as they stared wide-eyed towards Yuri. I followed their gazes, my heart pounding like a jackhammer, and there on the ground was Yuri, lifeless, a single gunshot wound to his head, blood slowly pooling around his head. I stared at Yuri's lifeless form, my mind struggling to grasp what had just happened. His face was pale, his eyes vacant, a look of sheer horror on his face, and all I could hear was the pounding of my heart. It was like time had frozen in place. If you want an explanation as to what I just told you, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have no fucking clue. Yuri's death was a gut-wrenching blow, one that sent shockwaves through our already fractured group. I still can't fucking comprehend what happened, what that hooded figure was, or why it drove us to the brink of madness. The lines between reality and nightmare had blurred, and I wasn't sure if I could ever trust my own thoughts again. I've seen mutants, anomalies, and horrors that defy the laws of nature in this godforsaken place, but nothing could have prepared me for the madness that unfolded in that room. The hooded figure, the whispers, the laughter. It's like something out of a nightmare, something that shouldn't exist in this reality. Me, Zoran, and Sergei are still slightly shaken up by what has happened. I still don't know why it was Yuri, why he was the one that was taken away from us. I don't fucking know. That look on his fucking face, his face just all contorted with fear. It haunts me, that's for fucking sure. I don't know anymore. But one thing is for certain, he saved our fucking lives, saved my life. That tough son of a bitch somehow broke free of the torment that we were all facing in that room, and somehow managed to give us all another chance. I'll remember him, until the day that I die. Rest in peace, you tough son of a bitch. As I write this, I'm struggling to find words that can even begin to convey the terror, the confusion, and the overwhelming sense of powerlessness that has pretty much consumed us. We were nothing more than pawns in a game we didn't even know we were playing. I should probably wrap this mess of an entry message up. Captain Petrov is probably on the verge of losing his shit over my absence. As much as I hate dealing with his paperwork and bullshit, I can't afford to stay lost in my own mind for too long. Also, the rain's still coming down, the mud's still clinging to my boots, and my PDA is about to die. If you're reading this, whoever or whatever you are, I hope this message reaches you. Maybe you'll be able to make sense of this mess, or maybe you'll be just as baffled as I am. Either way, if there's any way to get in touch with the outside world, I'll fucking take that chance and do my best to try and respond if anything does come through. For now, I'm stuck in this twisted nightmare, in a place where reality itself seems to warp and crumble. I'm not sure what lies ahead, but I'm holding on to whatever shreds of sanity I have left. If you're out there, stay safe. And if you're not, well, I'm not sure what else to say.